Morrison from Team Morrison. So here.
Hello, everyone. Everybody hear me all right?
Yeah.
How is everyone?
Good.
Doing well, doing well. Glad to see everybody. All right, so my name is Joseph Morrison.
Hi, Joseph.
I represent Team Morrison. My wife and I. It's my wife, Crystal, in the front.
Hi, Crystal.
If I didn't get that out of the way, I definitely would have heard about that later.
Absolutely.
I'm
not.
grateful to the community
Absolutely.
of Summers, anyone and everyone responsible for the positive things that continue to take place here, to the faculty here and to all of you students. Thank you for allowing me to enjoy this special time. Before we get started, it's important that we all relax. It's imperative that everyone is comfortable, zero tension, no stress, stress-free environment. The feeling you experience when you're around a loving family. Differences are a part of life. Uniqueness is a barrier in thinking. When I realize that you all are my equal, my brothers, my sisters, then I begin to breathe. I see you not as a stranger, but as family. So I have a request. I'm going to shout out family. I want everyone to holler back, how are you? All right, let's try this. Family!
How are you doing?
Family!
How are we?
Doing well, doing well. All right, y'all. Red Ribbon Week. You all have heard about Twizzlers. Drugs that twist your mind. Starburst. Be a star, don't get in that car. These sayings may make you smile, but the origin is nothing to laugh about. Enrique Kiki Camarena was a United States special agent. He worked for the DEA. His job was to locate the individuals responsible for pumping poison into our communities. He uncovered a multi-billion-dollar drug ring in Mexico. He was born in Mexico, but he was an American. Your fellow American got his skull smashed, his jaw, nose, cheekbones, windpipes crushed. A hole was drilled into his head with a screwdriver. He was tortured and killed before he could reach the age of 38. I'm 40 years old, so he died serving our country a couple of years younger than me. Red Ribbon Week was established in his memory. His wife Mika and his 3 sons are extremely active throughout the world. Enrique Jr. became a judge. His family is committed to educating others about the dangers of drugs and violence. Drugs and violence go hand in hand. The Camarena family needs for every single person in this room to remember how Enrique lived and why he died. Let us all observe a moment of silence in honor of this great man. Thank you. All right, everybody. Born in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I don't know how many of you all have been in Mass and spent much time on the South Shore of Massachusetts. Weymouth borders Braintree. It's not too far from Brockton. Rocky Marciano was from, Marvin Hagler. But it's just a small town. So I was born in the car. My mom couldn't make it to the hospital. And my dad wanted to name me Bonneville. Some of you all don't even know what Bonneville is, but I was born in the backseat of a Bonneville. 1973. The world was different then. Much different. So my dad dibbled and dabbled. He was a social worker, had a degree. He sold a little weed, drank a little bit, right? maybe sniffed a little cane. My mom followed in his footsteps. Kind of did similar things, drank a little bit, smoked a little weed, right? Harmless, right? So as a kid, I wasn't really happy. Didn't know why. Loved my mom. Loved her more than my dad. Obvious reasons, right? Mother's nurturing. I could really feel her love. My dad's not so much so. So as in so many cases, dysfunctional situations, my parents split up. My dad remained with me, custody. My mom fought for me to no avail, she lost. My father never really spent quality time with me. His way of spending time with me was to take a basketball while he was under the influence, maybe one of his partners around him or one of his boys, throw the basketball at me like a chess pass. And when I had trouble handling it, because I wasn't taught how to handle it, he would laugh at me, joke to his partner, kind of like, look how soft he is. Everything like that just stuck with me. And I didn't really know at that point in time that the lack of love that I was receiving in the way that I needed it and wanted it, that it was going to affect me later on in life. I'll tell you what, I love my father, but he didn't teach me a single thing. Yeah, he might have taught me how to ride a lawnmower. He never taught me about interaction with another individual, interaction with a male, interaction with a female. He never told me about a choice or a decision that he made that didn't go right. And that's serious right there, because every child has a puzzle. And for the rest of their lives, they work on kind of putting the pieces of that puzzle together. They can't do it by themselves. So they need for somebody to help show them where pieces go. They need the truth. I needed the truth. My mom worked as best as she could to explain to me the truth, but it took for both of them to get together and provide some input. And it didn't happen. I'll tell you what. When I met alcohol, it was my mom pouring a little bit of a wine cooler in a cup. I was probably 11, 12 years old. Just harmless, right? Oh, here, just you want to taste that. It did something to me, provided me warmth, companionship, comfort, young age. So now I'm trying to go to house parties. My sister's a couple of years older than me. I'm trying to go to house parties so that I can get that feeling again, chase that high. So that was my new flame. That was something that made me feel, a little different, some kind of love. All right, y'all, so I'm trying to figure out that puzzle, right? And the reality of it is, I don't want to feel the way I'm feeling. I'm a coward. Who admits that they're a coward? I didn't. I didn't tell a single person. I didn't tell the young girls that I was, trying to befriend. I didn't tell law enforcement, when I started to feel what those silver bracelets was like, I didn't speak to them about it. My first arrest, I was standing outside, local store, urinating against the wall. And back then, y'all might laugh, back then, it wasn't a sex charge, right? Nowadays, you go try it. You get caught, right? You might do it. You might be at a ball game or something, going to the woods, right? Pull over on the highway. It's a sex charge. You have to actually register. Pimps, right? I don't know if anyone knows what a pimp is, right? Somebody that deals with, what do they call it? Sex trade, right? We have somebody, engaging in a sex act. It's a sex crime. It is a you go to a place called the treatment center, and you will forever be marked. All right, anything dealing with inappropriate behavior. Right, it's good to know this stuff, right? Because at that age, I didn't know anything about that. And you have to register, and then forever you're branded as a sex offender. Anyways, right? I'm trying to numb the pain. I'm drinking, I'm smoking weed. I met weed. I met it. I don't know if any of you all met it. I met it. Loved it. I mean, loved it. I was weed. I tried to light a joint off of a light bulb. I didn't have a lighter. Didn't have a lighter. It's sad. Okay, lighting it off of toasters. I rolled weed up in tampon paper. I rolled weed up in Band-Aid wrappers. Right? Easily rolled it up in notebook paper, right? Easily. I've done that all the time, but just desperate. Desperate. You know, like a ghoulish fiend. I didn't want to, consider myself to be that, but that's how bad I was. If you drank something one night at a party, I would easily wake up the next day. If I didn't have my own, I would grab your cup, your open container. Didn't matter what was in it. Something could have been in it, I'll take it out, pour it out, look, a little bug out, drink that. Did not want to feel how a child feels naturally. Just, a pure natural high. I had to alter my brain. What happens when you're altering your brain? It's brain disease. I have brain disease. No doubt about it. Might have been born with it, but definitely something happened over a period of time, whereas I altered my brain so much that something happened. When I say brain disease, if I know that I step on this, it's going to land me to get in trouble, but I step on it, something's wrong with my brain. Now, if I do it again and again and again, that's brain disease, y'all. Y'all say whatever you want. If you're getting in trouble at school, if somebody's talking to you, if you get in trouble in the community, if you're disrespecting your parents or your peers, and somebody's explaining to you how it's making them feel, and you continue to do it, something's wrong. You mix that with alcohol, marijuana, any type of substance that alters your brain, that takes you out of their natural state. I couldn't spend time with my children unless I had an altered mind. That meant if I went to the park, I had to have a 40 ounce. I had to smoke a little bit of weed. And my child, children, I have 6 children, they just run up to me, right? They're young, they just love you, right? My 8-year-old, he just wants to sniff me at night. It's weird. He just wants to sniff me. Right? I don't say anything. Last time he was looking at me for a while and laying on the floor, right, getting ready for today. He starts to come down on me. I said, what are you doing? He said, I just want to hug you. Get away from me. Get away from me. But kids, it's just a natural joy, right? It's pure. But I could not spend time around them unless I had an altered mind. And that's sad. It took me years to understand what was going on. That puzzle. Internal struggle, right? My internal struggle led to an external conflict. Now, while all this is going on, right, while I'm drinking, while I'm smoking a little bud, there's things happening. I'm a coward, right? I don't like the dentist. So what happens when you don't like the dentist? Your teeth are rotten. Let me tell y'all about rotten teeth. I had abscess in my mouth that went untreated. I would go into a restaurant with you all, and I'd excuse myself. I'd take a fork, though, before I left, and I would go into the bathroom and puncture a hole through my cheek to drain the pus. The stuff's going to my brain. That added to brain disease. That pus, it's poison. It's going to my brain. But that's what a coward does. A coward runs from every tough decision, every tough choice, and goes for what's easy. No one's going to stop you from going to what's easy, right? No, everyone say, oh, go to what's easy. There might be something in the way, right? That Novocaine needle. To me, that was death. No, I'm a coward. I can't even fathom it. So that's just a small example of what I dealt with. I stayed with the Band-Aid. I don't know if you all know who Nelly is. When Nelly got his start, rapper, when he got his start, he had a Band-Aid on his cheek. Well, I stayed with the Band-Aid on my face, and people thought that I was cool with the Band-Aid. But every now and then, some pus or some blood would leak from the Band-Aid, and that was the infection just draining. It's really sad. You know, when I think about it, it's really sad. But who wants to admit that they need help? I didn't want to admit it. To this day, I'm 40 years old, and I'm just now able to tell somebody, you know, I could use your help. But at 14, 15, 21 years old, 25 years old, what do you say? I'm good. I don't need you. Miss me with that. Family! Come on, y'all. Family! Alright, y'all. Need y'all strength. Need y'all strength. Alright, y'all. Going to school in Amherst. Y'all heard of Amherst, right? Some of y'all might be fortunate enough to go to one of those schools. So there's a young kid named John. He was cool. Kind of used to want John to be in my little circle, but I didn't have a circle. I was by myself. It was dodo. One day, they tell us we all going to a funeral. John used to dibble and dabble, a little acid, drink, smoke weed. You know, back then, John might be sitting alongside the school just smoking it out of a little bowl or something, right? A little pipe. John was stiff. John was being lowered into the ground. And they brought the whole entire school. So this is the 80s. I didn't identify with that. I'm not John. John called it babbling. That's not me. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna smoke. Oh, it must have been the acid. I don't do that. I don't do that. You mess with acid, right? John must have succumbed to that because of, you know, that acid. I was John. That's that uniqueness. I thought I was different. Nobody saw John around anymore. There's a lot of Johns, you all. There's a lot of people that I know that died as teenagers. Why they died, all the reasons involved in it, is some kind of link to drugs. Could have been the killer. It could have been them dibbling and dabbling. Could have been an overdose. Probably 99% of the time, it wasn't just, you know, this guy is going swimming sober and, you know, dives and hits a rock. No. Has something to do with drugs. Family!
How we do?
Alright, y'all. I need y'all to stay with me. This stuff is serious, y'all. One of your peers, one of the people you're sitting right next to right now, just make a wrong decision and it could turn disastrous. All these things I'm telling you all, it's very serious. John's up there right now, and he's thinking about you all and saying, pay attention, focus, because I'm not able to, you know, to be there anymore. I didn't have any respect, no self-love. Everybody love themselves?
Of course.
How many people in here are humble?
Humble.
Show of hands. How many people in here are humble? That back row, y'all are real humble, huh? If you say you're humble, you're not. Allow somebody else to speak about your growth. Allow somebody else to say, you know what? That's a nice young lady. That's a nice young man. He's taking the steps. She's taking the steps to work towards humility. Now, how many times you see this, right? LeBron James beating on his chest, you know, like, I'm a grown man. Allow somebody else to speak about who you are and who you're becoming. Because if you proclaim something, It's probably not true. There's decent people in our community, and they will speak. They will speak about you. They will speak, for your character. And that's how you kind of put things together. And I always just spoke about myself. Spoke about myself. And I was losing the community when I was doing that. I had an Uncle Sherwood. What do y'all put in your eggs when you're making some scrambled eggs? Cheese.
Yeah, I put in milk. Milk! Yeah! What's up, milk? Cheese.
My Uncle Sherwood,
Killing it.
he's an addict. Everything under the sun, he dabbled and dabbled with. My Uncle Sherwood wanted to save a couple of dollars here and there. I'm young. I don't know any better. My Uncle Sherwood stretched the eggs with water. Y'all go home and cook some eggs and mix a little water in some fried eggs. It's totally disgusting. But as a child, I didn't understand it. So I would eat them and I said, oh, Uncle Sherwood, he's not good with making eggs. He's just, Mom, I don't like the way he cooks. Uncle Sherwood was trying to save a couple of dollars to get high. At this age, when you dibble and dabble, you don't see yourself as Uncle Sherwood. Oh no, you're above Uncle Sherwood. No, you're not above him. You could be him. You might be him already. I can't tell you what's wrong if I don't know what's right. How you gonna tell somebody what's right if you don't know what's wrong? That's deep, right? It sounds simple, but it's actually kind of complex. You have to understand things. Communication brings about understanding. So you have to talk to yourself. You have to be able to listen, right? Your teachers, your parents, people in our community, whether it be police officers, doctors, nurses, they want what's best for you all. They walk some of the steps that you all are walking. But that stuff is it's like noise in my ear. It's like, like you see the movies with the vampires and they sprinkle the holy water on them and they're like, it's burning. I did not want to hear anybody say anything to me. A couple of you all might not want to hear this right now, the stuff I'm saying to you all. It's not going to last long. It's going to pass. This too shall pass. You all will be doing your own thing, on your phone, chilling with your little crews and your separate things, and you're going your own way and getting yourselves together to go to school, college, and whatever, move on with your life. And those same people that are trying to help you to form the paths that your lives, will take on. They want what's best for you all right now. And they see what you all don't see. So I know how the stove feels because I touched the stove red hot way too many times. And all these people are trying to just say to you, don't touch the stove. But as a child, right, I'm invincible, I'm hard-headed. I know what I want, instant gratification, right? Instant gratification, you don't want to wait for anything. I do it now. I got a speeding ticket. It's instant gratification. I want what I want right now. Forget about the consequences. So that's just a killer. It's actually moving through our community, right? Permeating our community, destroying it. Instant gratification. It might be choices of food. How many times you go home and just everything is like a nice cooked meal? Or is it processed, microwave, quick, gotta eat this, I gotta run, Mom, I gotta run, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Everything is just instant. How do we get back? How do we get back to just slowing things down a little bit? Just taking the time to understand that this is serious and we're doing this one time, right? You're not gonna do this again. You can't say, oh, I'm gonna bring last month back, last year back. John's not coming back, you all. Uncle Sherwood's dead too, I didn't tell you all that. Uncle Sherwood got bust in the eye with the fluorescent light bulb. He'd probably go and cop some dope or something. You know, one of those long fluorescent light bulbs? Someone bash him in the face, bust his eye. But you're not Uncle Sherwin. That's not going to happen to you all. Uncle Sherwin was in the truck one day doing his job, some kind of construction site, and a crane just bashed his truck, broke his back all up. Now, he didn't die from that, though. He didn't die. He was still living, just a creature. Uncle Sherwin was actually a creature, you all. It's funny, but it's sad. So Uncle Sherwin died just one day, just stiff, like John, just stiff. His disease. I'm an alcoholic. I haven't had a drink with you all now in about 16 years. Right? I can tell you right now the way every single, maybe not some of this new stuff, but all the old stuff, right? I can tell you how it tastes, how it looks, how it smells. And when I see somebody and I smell somebody or I'm observing somebody under the influence, it's not a bad thing, but it's a turn off for me. You're blowing my high. I'm high naturally, you're blowing it. So I don't put myself around it. 1 out of 11 people becomes an alcoholic. So 11 of y'all, if you have a drink, 1 of you all is going to be an alcoholic. That right there is like, I don't know about those odds, you all, right? Those odds right there kind of, but it happens. And it's sad. An alcoholic's life is not pretty. An alcoholic's life is actually quite sad. And there's a puzzle. There's a puzzle. And that alcoholic probably go through 40, 50, 60 years, probably be older, really older, before they really put together that. How did I get this way? How many lives did I effectively alter and destroy because of my alcoholism? I wanted money when I was younger. So I started, selling a little drugs here and there. From drugs, I said, well, how can I get it a little faster? I started playing with guns. Started doing robberies, home invasions. I was one of the first in the state of Massachusetts to receive 20 years for a home invasion. Went to prison when I was 25. Got out earlier during this year. I went into a house. Kid looked like one of you all. He was asleep, sitting up on his couch. Probably smoked a doobie or something, right? Woke him up. He thought it was a joke. He just smiled at me, right? Like how some of you might be smiling. So I smacked him in the face with the gun, let him know I was serious. Had a couple of drinks before I went in the house, right? Smoked a little weed myself, feeling good. He had $20, you all. I caught a 20-year bid for $20. $1 a year, you figure it out, right? An officer came while I was in the house. I managed to get away. When I was on the run from the case, 2 15-year-old sons of mine were conceived. I met 2 innocent young girls, impregnated them. Then about, less than a year later after I met them and, did what I did with them, like a coward, because I'm a coward now, right? So like a coward, I abandoned them, abandoned my responsibilities, and I went to prison for a long term. All kinds of things happened with the women. All kinds of things happened to the kids. But let's talk about what I did. Because it's all me. I made the decision to be with them. I made the decision to abandon them. Family!
How we do?
Family! Let me tell y'all what I did to my family. STDs. Whoever here has had an STD? Come on, don't be shy now. You have an STD, some of them can be treated, right? So I've been shot in the butt. I'm not, as I tell y'all how I got these cures, I'm not even going to tell y'all what STD I had when I got this treatment, because I don't remember. Brain disease, right? So I'm looking at my private parts, right? They're leaking. Little green fluid, clear fluid. Oh, this stuff's real. This stuff's real. Right? Oh, I didn't care about myself. But you know what's even crazy, right? I didn't care about myself, so how am I going to care about somebody else? Not interested in a condom. A condom? We don't need that. This side, we don't need that. Prostitutes. Right? Having sex with prostitutes. No condom. No condom. Taking that same body part and bringing it home to my family. So now what happens? She's sick, right? Give her an STD. Did I do that once? I just told y'all, multiple treatments. Sometimes pills, sometimes shot in the butt. You know what you can't get a shot in the butt for? You can't take pills for? A lot of things, right? Could be AIDS, could be herpes. You can't take a shot in the butt or take a pill for crabs. Had crabs on more than one occasion. Gave the crabs to the women. On more than one occasion. So this is all real stuff. This is the wrecking ball. Drinking, smoking weed. I have never tried cocaine. I have never tried heroin. But you hear me speak and you say, oh, he had to have been doing something else. He had to have been doing something else other than just drinking and smoking weed. That stuff doesn't lead to Joseph the Wrecking Ball. It doesn't lead to STDs. It doesn't lead to picking up a gun and doing a home invasion or Uncle Sherman getting busted in the face with a fluorescent light bulb. It absolutely does. Because what you're doing now, you don't know the progression. You don't know what's going to happen down the road. But you have control now. Self-love, self-respect, just avoid. All right, the ripple effect, you all. The ripple effect. Throw a stone into the water, you all. What happens? What happens in the water? Ripples. But what else? What else? You know, y'all in school now. Come on now. When you define a word, family.
How we do? Is it how we do?
I want y'all to get this definition thing right. When you define a word, you can't use the same word to define a word, right? At least you shouldn't. So a ripple is something that, right, just it moves throughout, right? You throw that stone and you see the water, it moves around, goes out far. Who knows how far the ripple goes, right? The ripple could go miles. You don't know. Scientists may know. The actions, the decisions, the behaviors, they rippled throughout everybody's lives that I touched. People I didn't know. Got police officers that came into the house. I had a loaded 38 in my hand. It was a woman. Those two 15-year-olds wouldn't have been born had I been apprehended that day. She maced me, she fought with me, struggled with me. I managed to get away. Fortunately, the gun didn't go off. I've had bad things happen with guns. I've had boys that had bad things happen with guns. I know a guy that shot his private part off. Had it in his pants. Had the gun in his pants, gun went off, whatever, right? Tell you tons of stories now. Come on now. Locked up 16 years, right? Tell you tons of stories. I'm riding a bike one day. Have a gun in my pants, gun goes off. Shoot myself in the arm. Earlier this year, I went and got the bullet out. Stayed in me close to 20 years. 38. I'm on a bike. Gun went off, could have went in my head. Fortunately, it went in my arm. Decisions, you all. The ripple effect. So, When a crime is committed, police officers would probably respond. I used to despise police officers. Used to have this guy around the neighborhood, used to take drugs and guns from us and not lock us up. And we used to curse him out. Oh, we used to think that he was a dirty cop. He would take our stuff and bring it to the church to show what he was taking off the streets. But we used to assume, if you're doing this, you're keeping the stuff. He was trying to save us. Not to mention, you know, the record that we would have been getting at that young age, right? But I just looked at the other thing because I was drinking, I was smoking, my mind, brain disease, right? I couldn't understand what was happening. I'd be locked up. Him and my dad would come by the jail and just yell and scream at me through the bars. I felt like a caged animal. And I would just want it to stop. But I couldn't stop. I would get out. I would do the same things again. The ripple effect. That officer did not like doing what he was doing as far as, you know, finding all this, you know, this stuff that he knew was destroying his community. He probably lost sleep at night. These nurses, these doctors, the people that responded when I shot myself, that stuff stays with them. So what we do every single day, it affects our parents. If you're failing in grade, if you're being disrespectful, if you disrespect your parents, if you disrespect your classmate, that possibly stays with them for the rest of the day. It's a ripple effect. You're feeling all right because you probably didn't care in the first place when you were the way you were. Maybe you lacked that self-love, that self-respect. But now you just hurt a person. You created a victim. Some victims don't know what to be if they're not victims. So some people just get into this state where they just only know this pain and they kind of accept it. Now they start to welcome it. It's really tough, right? I created so many victims because I was sick and suffering. They have a saying in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. They say, you know, sick and suffering. It takes a lot for you to admit that you have a problem. It takes a lot for me to admit that I don't have all the answers. There's nothing worse than an add and subtract type of individual, right? This is the individual, they always have something to add to the equation. They always have something to add. You say something to them, they say, oh, yeah, boop. But they never just close it up, right? They can add, but they're never able to just subtract something. Just take something from the conversation. When your teacher's saying something, the 8-year-old, I'll say, Montree, you're going to do this. No. At 8 years old, I didn't know the word no. I didn't know it. You can't say the word no in the 70s, 80s to your parents. No, I'm not. No. 60s, 50s? Nowadays, right? Your parents say something you're not feeling. Oh, no, I'm all set with that. No, that ain't gonna happen. No. Respect. You all pay rent? More than likely, no. Do you all put all the groceries in the refrigerator? More than likely, no. Utilities? More than likely, no. The taxpayers are doing all this right now, making it so you all have decent lives. The ripple effect, it affects the taxpayers. The decisions you make now. Why do you think there's, less and less financial aid? The decisions I made. Have to do something. You have to get these police I hate. Imagine society with no police officers. Just imagine. You can't because you've always had them. So you don't know what it'd be like. The streets would be crazy. There'd be a bunch of creatures, a bunch of monsters, and you would not be safe. So the taxpayers fund their salaries. The taxpayers make sure that your lives are decent. Now, how do you repay them? Do you walk outside your houses pick up litter? Do you find churches? Do you find soup kitchens, shelters, to just volunteer just a little bit of time, a half an hour? Maybe some of you all do. Maybe most of you all do. Maybe all of you all do. But push yourself. Don't settle. Say to yourself, what more can I do? Because there's a ripple effect going on. When I walk around and I help somebody, that affects somebody else. When I walk around and I do nothing, you say, oh, well, I'm not hurting anybody. I just do me. But there's people that aren't being helped. There's people that need you, whether it be children, whether it be seniors, right? Senior citizens, the elderly. So, you all get what I'm saying with that. There's a ripple effect. And what you're doing, it really, really makes a difference in the lives of others. You can't see these people. You may never see them. Everybody involved in my case, that victim, the guy hit in the head with the gun, I can't talk to him to this day. It has been told to me, no, he doesn't need any letter. He doesn't need for you to say anything to him. Doesn't matter that you change, whatever. You know what? I don't know. That man might have nightmares right now. He might have grown up and treated somebody else poorly because of the way I treated him. So everybody wants to look at how an individual is behaving and acting and say, oh, well, they're doing that and that's wrong. But nobody knows how that individual got in that state. What happened in their lives that caused that. My mom's 300 pounds. I love her to death. She supported me my whole time being incarcerated. She's dying. The ripple effect from her decisions. My mom cannot effectively clean. She's in her early 60s. So the ripple effect is other people have to help her out. The taxpayers, right? She receives some money. Somebody has to come by and take care of her. She's 60 years old, right? The ripple effect.